Good morning, chilly morning here today, Friday, November 1st, a new day of the month. If you're hearing my voice, then hopefully you have electricity. If you're in California, oh wow. And I hope everyone is safe. We actually had a tornado activity here in Guilford County, where I live, last night. But Jack and I are fine. Bunch of branches are down. I hope no damage was done to our absolutely brand new roof that we just got on Monday. But everything seems fine. So take care of yourselves. Now, for this first day of November 2019. From the snippet topic suggestion spreadsheet, also there was like a 40-degree differential today from yesterday to today in temperature. So it's cold this morning. And thank you for the suggestions. Link below. Oh, by the way, today is snippet number 500. So I'm actually making this public to YouTube in celebration and gratitude to patrons. So those of you who are seeing this, this is kind of what happens on the snippets for patrons 20 times a week in addition to other things. So anyway, here is from the snippet topic suggestion spreadsheet, link below if you're a patron. Okay, since you're living single for a short time, could you talk about cooking for one? I know lots of us have issues buying and preparing food when it's just one person eating. So easy to get stuck with the same thing over and over. Thank you for the suggestion. And for those of you who don't know, my lovely mate is away, as he does a couple of times a year. He's down for the coffee harvest at a coffee farm small coffee farm we own in Colombia, South America. So, preparing and shopping, thinking of doing that for one person can be a challenge. It's a little bit easier for me. Actually, it's a lot easier for me. My lovely mate eats more fuel than I do. He needs more. He is a male. He is, he has much more muscle mass than I do. He works in a physically demanding job. Not only that, when he's not working, oftentimes he's riding his bicycle all over the place. And he's a wee bit younger than I am. He requires more fuel than I do. So actually, when he's here, it's more of a challenge for me to make sure that I'm preparing for kind of him as one. I mean, I'll prepare, and sometimes we share a meal. It just depends on the situation. I don't eat the same amount every day. Some days I eat more, some days less. Some days very little. It just depends on what my body is calling for. So for me, it's a little bit easier. But I will tell you, when we had to transition, I transitioned from purchasing meals for a family. We have 3 children. They're all grown and gone and out now. But it was so strange after years of buying lots of times in bulk, right? And then you realize, wow, I bought all this stuff in bulk and half of it's going to get thrown away. Once we became a keto household, that was the next change, was realizing we did not need as much of certain foods, namely fresh vegetables, sorry to say. You go and buy 5 romaine heads at Costco, and, 2 of them go to the compost pile. So we've had to learn to dwindle down to buying for 2. When I'm by myself, it really is not difficult. Now, you finish up your topic by saying, it's so easy to get stuck with the same thing over and over. I don't mind the same thing over and over. Very often, sometimes I don't share photos or videos of my food because it's so repetitive. It's very often a variation of eggs and breakfast meats and coffee. Because that's okay with me, because at this point what I'm looking for is fuel, not entertainment. I don't get bored with the same food because it's difficult to get bored with delicious food. If my fuel of choice happens to be ribeye, which I'm fortunate that we can have ribeye, and now of course one ribeye might last me for 3 separate meals. It's delicious. It's hard to complain or get bored with ribeye. It's just practice. And then you have to ask yourself, what if you're living by yourself and you're doing this on your own, if you're someone who really does get bored with the food and that takes, joy out of life for you, then maybe what the thing to do is to pre-portion. Our friend Helena will cook something and portion it immediately and put several portions away. And then if you do like 3 things like that, you've got a dozen different meals that you can kind of rotate in and out. And, excuse me. So keep in mind what we want is what we need to be doing, and it sounds too simplistic. So if we're following the protocol, 20 grams or fewer a day, total not net, eat fatty sources of protein, don't eat if you're not hungry, stop when you're satiated. Dr. Westman's page 4, link below. If it's not in there, don't eat it. If you start doing that, you start burning fat for fuel. The thing that can be the most challenging is don't eat if you're not hungry and stop when you're satiated, right? So don't eat if you're not hungry and there's just one of you. It can seem kind of stark. What? In the last week, I haven't had to go to the grocery store at all because I've got everything I need here. When a couple of boiled eggs can be a meal, life is very simple, but it can seem like this can't be right. I've always had a fridge full of food. There's always been plates full of food. Changes. We need less fuel because the fuel we eat is more nutritious. So we don't need a bunch of the filler food, right? The things that used to fill up our plates and then fill up our fat cells. But that's okay. We just need to be okay with that. Keep in mind, back in the day, thank you, Cuckoo. Back in the day, people lived out of ice boxes, which was literally a wooden box with a cube of a giant, slab of ice in it. And they didn't have, something just startled me. They didn't have 25.4 cubic foot refrigerators with double freezers and an extra freezer and pantries full of food. People didn't eat as much food as we do now. So, think of it in those terms. We're just going back to the way it was. Oh, well, I'm kind of rambling, which is what happens in the morning. I did want to glom off of yesterday's snippet, which the topic was the person kindly wrote they lost 55 pounds, felt great, everything's good, and then wrote, the problem is I'm pretty happy with where I am. Wanting to lose 10 more pounds or so, but this person's pretty happy. And that was seen as a problem because what do you do if, it starts to, I'm pretty good, and you get a little lax here and there. And I responded to it, but then I thought about it more during the day. And I thought, this is not just true. Yeah, you can become a little lax because you're feeling, I've got this, I'm good. A little piece of that, a little sip of that, and you might coast along for a while. I think a good metaphor would be taking our relationship with our new protocol. It's like a relationship in life with a human, with another person, a romantic relationship. And at the beginning, you're so excited that you are in this relationship and everything seems new and fresh and the colors are brighter, and with the protocol, we're losing weight, we're feeling better, our joint pain is dissipating, and we're happy. And so you roll along for a while, happy, 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 happy. And there's a lot of energy involved with a new relationship with either of these things, either a human or with the protocol. And then you just become satisfied and content, which is great. You're content in your relationship. It's not so new anymore, and you are content, which is good. But just like anything, even a strong, happy, successful, conscientious, romantic relationship that is at a content stage needs attention, needs diligence. Complacency can come in, and then what was really wonderful and content is not so great anymore. We still need to put effort even into long-time successful relationships. In a couple of weeks, my husband and I will be married 39 years. We still put effort into the relationship. We still need to put effort into our relationship with this protocol, even if we've lost all the weight we want to lose, right? If we're exactly where we want to be. Complacency is not really good in anything in life. And as our friend Cindy says, the wolf is always at the door. So, another ramble. Was there anything else? Oh, I do. Okay, y'all. Dr. Westman's Durham Support Group meeting Tuesday of next week in Durham, North Carolina. Greensboro meetup with me in Greensboro, North Carolina at Wine Styles. These are both free. Wednesday is Wine Day with Amy Berger and me. I have a live stream. That is a registered event. And Dr. Westman's Keto Retreat, link below, in January. And Go Keto with Casey cruise to Alaska next July. I think that covers everything. I will see some of you later on this morning for a patron-only live stream. So, make it a good day. Be kind to yourself. Be firm with yourself. But y'all, let's be honest with ourselves. It's easy to tell ourselves things that aren't quite true in order to do the things we really shouldn't be doing. So, make it a good Friday, and let's make it a good November. And patrons, don't forget, today's the first day of Planksgiving. The spreadsheet is linked. Okay, bye. See you later, alligator. And toodaloo, caribou.